starts now.
Indianapolis has promised changes to make downtown safer following the mass shooting, leaving 2 teenagers dead, 5 others injured. But will it be enough? You're watching Wish TV. I'm Tim Spears. Following 4th of July celebrations, IMPD Chief Chris Bailey said there were hundreds of minors roaming the streets unsupervised when gunshots started. The department says it will increase police presence, add new surveillance cameras, and begin enforcing curfews for minors. If that sounds familiar, it's because last year there was a nearly identical incident. 7 shot downtown in March 2024. IMPD said then it would enforce curfews, but in the 4 months following, officers only cited 3 minors for violations. The department said it wasn't tracking curfew enforcement. I asked IMPD multiple times this weekend, why did police stop enforcement and how will this renewed effort be any different? A police spokesperson said they would respond on Monday. But last night, City County Councilor Leroy Robinson said the Marion County Juvenile Detention Center and Juvenile Family Services do not have the staffing or capacity to intake and process large numbers of minors on a Friday or Saturday night. We're now joined by Indiana State Representative Andrew Ireland, a Republican lawmaker in Marion County. So you believe the State House should now get involved. What does that mean?
Well, I think we've given the city every opportunity to try to get the job done right. We've been talking about curfews and cameras now for more than a year, and clearly it's not making a difference. One of the things I proposed to the State House is introducing accountability measures both for the prosecutors and the judges here in Marion County. But if you're not willing to do your job, then we need somebody else to step up.
Okay, and IMPD said it will increase police presence along with state police, increase surveillance downtown and enforce curfews. Why isn't that enough?
Well, I think we had that same conversation last year, and IMPD is doing a great job. But the reality is there's no other leadership right now in the city-county building. There's no leadership, certainly in the prosecutor's office. On the other end of that, I mean, you can arrest somebody for, violating a curfew, but if you don't have a prosecutor that's willing to actually enforce that at the end of the day, it doesn't mean much.
One thing the state could tackle is gun reform. Chief Chris Bailey said many of these teenagers were armed, hiding guns in backpacks, in their clothes. Are the gatherings the issue, or is the guns?
Well, again, I think you see folks like the mayor, Joe Hogsett, or prosecutor Ryan Mears, who love to, talk about gun control. But the reality is we have a variety of laws on the books to hold violent offenders accountable, particularly those who use firearms. And they're not willing to actually use those existing laws. So I don't think we need to start talking about, kind of gun control. The reality is all that's going to do is take guns away from the good guys.
So you don't believe there are any gun reforms that are common sense that could help stop these shootings?
No, I don't. I think the reality is, again, that we have a variety of laws on the books. But if you look at Ryan Mears' record as far as actually prosecuting and holding violent criminals with firearms accountable, it's abysmal.
City County Councilor Leroy Robinson said the Marion County Juvenile Detention Center cannot handle a large influx of minors on weekends. Does the state need to help with funding? What's the solution there?
Well, I'll say 2 things. One, I think it's interesting from that counselor, considering that committee hasn't met now, I think, multiple times. So again, these are serious issues. That this is not something new. This didn't just pop up in the last week. This is a conversation that the FOP and other organizations have been calling for the city county council to get serious about, but they haven't been. And we want to talk about funding. I mean, the reality is, again, money is not going to fix this. We need enforcement. And again, right now we don't have somebody in the prosecutor's office that's serious about it. And we certainly don't have a mayor that seems to be serious about any of his duties.
You mentioned it, and we've talked about it. There was a nearly identical shooting in 2024 downtown, 7 people hurt. Similar promises from the city. Is what I'm hearing essentially that these efforts aren't going to work until it just actually leads to charges and it leads to convictions?
Well, I think it's a big part of it. That's right. I mean, in 2024, last summer, we had exactly this same conversation. The city is going to impose a curfew. They're going to hold individuals accountable. We come 12 months later and they say, oh, effectively, we forgot that there was a curfew in effect, that we have not been enforcing that, which could have gone a long way of potentially preventing the violence we've seen just over this past weekend, not to mention a number of incidents over the last year downtown.
Finally, before we let you go, where is the line in terms of increasing enforcement and also letting people just enjoy their city?
Well, again, I don't think that there's any sort of tension between the two. If you actually increase enforcement and you get the violent people off the streets, particularly these repeat violent offenders, which have really marred our city, that's how you have the opportunity for people to enjoy downtown again. I mean, this used to be a safe city, but over the last decade, between Hogsett, Mears, and the city county council, it seems like they're dead set on allowing these individuals to really ruin what is an incredible city that has so much to offer.
Well, I'm sure this is not the last word on this subject. State Representative Andrew Ireland, thank you for joining this conversation.
Thank you.